Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red and Blue Rescue Team set the bar for future Mystery Dungeon games with a pretty solid postgame. This meant that by the time Explorers of Sky was released, people were expecting the content after the main story to be just as good. By the way, yes, I know Explorers of Time and Darkness were a thing, but Explorers of Sky is just a better version of those two. So, as I've done in 16 other videos here on the channel, I'll be playing through the postgame of this 2009 edition of the Mystery Dungeon franchise, and seeing how it stacks up compared to its 2005 counterparts. Make sure to hit that sub button as it really helps out the channel, and without further ado, it's time to actually play through the postgame of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how the main plot goes in this game, you begin with the generic somehow you turned into a Pokemon, a fellow starter finds you in the middle of nowhere, and you form an exploration team. This time around though, the two of you join Wigglytuff's guild, and soon find out that various time gears are being stolen around the region, which is causing a disruption in space and time. After escaping the future, you'll have to work your way to Temporal Tower in order to defeat Primal Dialga and install the stolen time gears, ultimately saving the universe. However, not everything will be sunshine and rainbows just yet. After letting the credits roll, your partner is seen returning to Wigglytuff's guild, where he lets everyone know what just went down, as well as the fact that you've disappeared. But months later, it seems like the developers figured that they should add on to the story a bit, so Dialga recognizes how sad your partner is and makes you randomly reappear on the beach where you first met. With the two of you back together, you're given the opportunity to graduate from the guild thanks to all the work you've done. Wigglytuff informs you that the graduation ceremony will take place on the last floor of the Mystifying Forest. Before you head out though, Teddiursa and Ursaring will greet you in Treasure Town, and let you know about the Luminous Spring, which lies just beyond the forest. This dungeon consists of 14 floors, and it also includes the strange weather effect of Cloudy, which weakens every type except normal. That would be OP if it existed in the main games. Come to find out at the end, you and your partner must take down all the members of the guild at once in order to successfully graduate. After doing so, you can follow Teddiursa and Ursaring to Luminous Spring, where a light appears in the middle. By stepping into this light, Teddiursa evolves, but for some unexplainable reason, neither you nor your partner can do the same. Nonetheless, upon arriving back at the guild, you're rewarded with 10,000 Pokédollars, some items, and an extra-large treasure bag. After doing one or two optional missions, you'll find Spinda giving a big announcement in the cafe. He states that you've been granted access to Shaymin Village, a very peaceful location at the base of the Sky Peak stations, which is another set of dungeons that you must trek through. Fortunately, one of the lead Shaymin offers to join your team during this journey. Following every 5 floors, you'll reach a clearing which usually just features a Kangaskhan statue to save your progress, but sometimes the members of Team Frontier can be found setting up a base. In the 4th clearing, they'll tell you that a Sneasel got ambushed by a group of Carnivine up ahead. So make your way to the 5th clearing, where you're forced into a boss battle against 5 Carnivine. Further into the dungeon, in the 7th clearing, Sneasel is seen lying unconscious, and Team Frontier has no idea what happened. As a result, Shaymin explains that there's a rescue expert located in the 8th clearing, who turns out to be Ampharos. From there, Sneasel is successfully saved, allowing your squad to venture into the Sky Peak summit, which includes 6 floors for you to traverse. At the top, Shaymin is astonished, as the summit has been overtaken by a gang of Muck and Grimers. By defeating them though, Shaymin restores the peak to its natural state, ultimately putting an end to this mission. 2 optional tasks later, and you'll find a Mr. Mime hanging out by Spinda's cafe. He states that Scizor is a well-renowned explorer who has recently gone missing on Blizzard Island, so you should probably find out what's going on. This dungeon is easy, but unfortunately takes forever due to there being a total of 38 floors when you factor in the Crevice Cave and Lower Crevice Cave. At the end, you'll discover Scizor frozen in some ice by this Frostlass, who you must knock out. As thanks, Scizor promotes your exploration team to the secret rank, which your partner has trouble understanding. I mean, come on, he's literally explaining it to you right there. A couple days later, you can speak with Corphish in Treasure Town, which kicks off a pretty big plotline. He claims that Sunflora is excited about some dungeon named the Surrounded Sea, as it plays home to a bunch of rare treasure. Upon speaking with Sunflora, you're given access to this place, where you can collect a Wonder Egg on the bottom floor. Eventually, it hatches into a Manaphy, which the two of you show to Chatot. All of a sudden though, it begins to cry, and the only way to calm it down is by giving it some blue gummies, which can be found in the Craggy Coast. These can be kind of annoying to find as they're not guaranteed to appear, and I'd recommend trying to grab 2 in one go. After feeding Manaphy a gummy, the next morning you'll take it down to the beach since it's originally from the ocean. But you literally just sit there all day as the game progresses into the next night where Manaphy suddenly wakes up. In the morning, Manaphy is gone, so you have to track it down by the beach before it collapses due to a sickness. After talking it over with Chatot, you gotta venture to the 22nd floor of the Miracle Sea in order to find some Phione Dew. The issue is, a Gyarados is tormenting some Phione down there, forcing you and your partner to challenge it to a boss battle. Upon taking it out, you receive the Phione Dew, heal Manaphy, and are forced to hand it over to Walrein a few days later since Manaphy really belongs in the sea. So I just did all that babysitting and got nothing out of it? Okay, I see how it is. Upon completing 2 or 3 optional jobs, you'll find all the guild members surrounding an exploration team known as Team Charm. It consists of Medicham, Gardevoir, and Lopunny, and all the Pokemon are a little too excited to see them. Yeah, this was kinda weird. Look, the main point here is that they've discovered a new location titled Aegis Cave. In it lies an unknown puzzle that Team Charm will race you to solve. Basically, you need to work through each floor while collecting the keystones of certain unknowns. First, you'll need the letters I, C, and E to challenge Regice, then R, O, C, and K for Regirock, and S, T, E, and L for Registeel. After defeating all 3, you encounter Regigigas at the bottom, who is armed with his squad of Hitmonlee and Bronzongs. This is probably the toughest battle in the postgame up to this point, but by taking them out, Team Charm accepts their loss, and the Concealed Ruins dungeon is unlocked. Although it doesn't exist for any major purpose aside from some nice items waiting for you on the 30th floor. One night later, a big storm will make its way over the island while you and your partner experience some flashbacks. Then, a cutscene ensues in which Darkrai is seen ominously standing in the rain before escaping the site of Cresselia. Once you complete some more optional missions, it's back to dreaming in the middle of the night as Cresselia claims that the only way the universe will go back to normal is if you and your partner disappear, so her goal is to apparently kill you. The morning after, your partner struggles to wake you up, while Bidoof frantically states that Azurill is having a nightmare that it can't wake up from. As a result, you're tasked with locating Drowsy on Mount Travail, who will be able to go inside of Azurill's dream. After 20 floors, you'll find him at the peak, and back at the guild, he'll ask you if you're ready to hop into Azurill's dream. Once you find your way through the 17 floors here, Cresselia appears and gets ready to completely erase you and your partner's existence. Yo, I did not know the Mystery Dungeon games got this deep. Luckily, Drowsy enters at just the right time, causing Cresselia to flee. Some more discussion then takes place at the guild, before you and your partner dive into even more flashbacks later that night. As the sun rises, you gotta locate Lapras by the beach, who will notify you of the ruler of space, Palkia, as well as the Spatial Rift dungeon. Ironically enough, that same night, Palkia appears right in front of your team. I mean, come on, you could have at least knocked first. Anyways, he teleports you to the Spatial Rift in an attempt to take you out. This dungeon features 25 floors, which aren't too bad, but the showdown with Palkia at the end is quite difficult. Nonetheless, as he's defeated, you enter Palkia's dream, where he'll just restate what he said earlier about having to make you and your partner disappear. Cresselia then shows up and backs up what Palkia just said before approaching you. However, right as you're about to get taken out, another Cresselia appears. It turns out that this is the real Cresselia, while the one trying to erase you from existence was actually Darkrai in disguise. Not gonna lie, that fooled me a bit. However, I probably would have seen that coming if I just took the time to read the dialogue. Anyways, Darkrai is furious because of this, so he invites your squad, as well as Cresselia, to the Dark Crater in order to settle this once and for all. First off though, you check in with Azurill in Treasure Town, who has finally woken up before making your way into the Dark Crater. The 30 floors here are completely littered with fire types, but as long as you have the right counters, they're not too terrible to deal with. The same cannot be said for the Darkrai battle though. I think this is the most unfair fight I've ever been a part of. For starters, it's a 3v7, as Darkrai is joined by some very strong foes including Arbok, Magcargo, Aggron, Mismagius, Rhyperior, and Magmortar. Not only that, but Cresselia must stay alive throughout the entire battle. This means that you gotta try to keep it away from some of the enemies, but that doesn't matter too much as Darkrai has Ominous Wind, which hits everyone on the field and almost always knocks out Cresselia. Because of that, you're stuck with having to hope that Cresselia gets up enough double teams so that Ominous Wind never hits it. This probably took me around 20 to 30 tries, even though I did mess with the game a little bit, as I'm sure you've been able to tell. I seriously have no clue how you win this battle normally. I'm lucky there's not a hole in my screen right now because, man, I was close to making one. In the end though, Palkia banishes Darkrai away and the whole town celebrates as you and your partner save the day and remain in this universe. Well, that was another enjoyable post-game, up until the ridiculously brutal showdown at the end. I realized that Explorer of Sky's postgame was a lot more storyline focused compared to Red and Blue Rescue Team's postgame, as I think that game had a lot more emphasis on encountering and recruiting legendaries. Still, it was cool to see some mons that weren't present in those games, such as Shaman, Manaphy, and Regigigas, but I'm just not sure if I want to rank this postgame ahead of Red and Blue Rescue Teams, solely because of that last fight. Nonetheless, I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much. For now though, have a great rest of your day, and until next time, deuces.